Hi friends, Allison here sharing some new creative inspiration with you for Scrapbook Nerd. This layout was created with Cocoa Vanilla, Sunkissed, and of course Cricut die cuts as well. I began with the Cricut die cuts. There is this floral piece that as soon as I saw it made me think of it would be like the perfect shelf to rest everything on, especially with the straight line at the top of it. I love the floral pattern of it too. I kept it white. I toyed with adding mixed media behind it, but I decided in the end to skip it because I also planned on using a lot of the ephemera from the Sunkissed collection. And I'm glad I didn't do the mixed media in the end because all of the color comes from the die cuts from the Sunkissed collection by Cocoa Vanilla. After I got the white floral piece glued to the layout base, I adhered the yellow die cut flowers that I cut with my Cricut, and then I brought in all of those extra die cut ephemera pieces and stuck them underneath and on top and around the floral images. There is a smaller one that I'm going to add to the top of the page. So it ends up being like a bracket and then everything else is going to sit in between them. But I will bring in some puffy stickers and more of the ephemera to the little top cluster as well. But before I get there, I'm going to focus on this bottom portion because a lot is happening down on this bottom part. So this Cricut floral die cut is going to be adhered with foam squares. I'm just adding them right now. And then I'm going to use my liquid glue to adhere all of the ephemera afterwards. I really like the idea of adding more greenery to the floral cluster at this part of the layout as well. So I pulled out some of the leaves from the die cut pack as well. I only had 3 left and I'm going to sprinkle them around the bottom portion of the layout as well. You may have noticed that I did add hand stitching to my layout base. This portion of the layout is actually going to be adhered to a larger cardstock base as well. So this was cut down to 11 3/4 by 11 3/4 square. And then the mat that it's going on will be obviously 12 by 12 inches. I'm just adding some foam squares to these leaves as well. I used a mixture of liquid glue and foam squares. I glued the ends of them so that they at least would stick to the flower. And then I added the foam squares to add a little bit of height to the leaves as well. Next come my pictures. There is 4 of them. I printed them at 2 by 2 inches and then matted them to some white cardstock. I like the idea of adhering them in 2 tiers and also not straight as well. So they're kind of, one is a little higher than the other and then they'll be on 2 levels. Most of them are pictures of flowers just from my adventures and goings-ons while we're out as a family doing things. The reason behind this layout is a couple of years ago I came across a free course through Persnickety Prints learning how to improve your picture taking skills with your smartphone. And seriously, it was the best course I've ever taken in my life. It really helped improve the quality of my picture taking for my scrapbooking purposes. And every chance that I get, I practice my skills and continue trying to improve on what I learned. So that's what this layout is about and the story that I am telling. And I thought obviously the florals was the perfect addition. Pardon me, phone call. I was saying that I thought the florals was the perfect addition for the story behind this layout. So here are the extra bits of ephemera that I had mentioned earlier. Somehow this layout ended up being very pink, which there's nothing wrong with pink. I love pink. But in my original design, it was very much yellow, and I liked the yellow a lot better. And somehow as the creative process went, it ended up being very pink and not very yellow. So I actually end up pulling in blue into this layout, which was also not a part of my original design either. But in order to cut through all of that pink and make sure it wasn't like eye overload, I thought that I would bring in another color just to break it up a little bit more. So you are going to start seeing some blue bits and pieces coming in, including flowers. I cut these butterflies that I'm attaching to the layout right now with my Cricut. I was trying really hard to use this die cut piece. I think it's from Amy Tangerine. It's been on my desk for a while and I keep pulling it out and trying it in a few places and I just couldn't get it to work. So I do eventually put it off to the side. But the butterflies were cut with my Cricut, and the addition of those, because they were all pink, I think is what tipped this layout to more of the pink side than the yellow side. If I had known earlier that I was going to add as much color as I ended up adding, those butterflies may have been different colors, so it wouldn't have felt so overwhelming. But it is what it is, and I still absolutely love this layout. I think pulling in the blue was the perfect solution to that dilemma. And in the end, it ended up being a happy accident, so I'm quite happy with it. I pulled out the other die cut pack that also comes with the Cocoa Vanilla Sunkissed collection, and I'm using the hearts, some of them from that. I've got a pink and an orange one. It's going over top of my title. My title is a mixture of die cuts and ephemera die cuts from Cocoa Vanilla and stamping as well. And I just used alpha stamps that I've had in my stash for a while, as well as pink ink. I'm just adding my journaling now. I'm adding it directly to my layout base. As you know, I do not do that very often because my favorite way to add my journaling is with journaling strips that I trim out and then adhere to my layout. But in this situation, adding it directly to the layout base was the best option. There was so much going on anyways. I thought adding strips would just be over the top, and so I skipped that part. There's the date, and with that, this layout is complete. I am adding a few of the puffy stickers now, but that's basically it. That's just the finishing touches. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, if you are looking for an enabler or an excuse to go shopping, definitely check out the Scrapbook Nerd shop. There's lots of fantastic tools, collections, and everything else that you might need for your crafting in the shop. I'll leave the link in the description box down below. Here are the close-ups. Feel free to stick around for that. And I hope this layout inspired you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and a like, and make sure you subscribe to the Scrapbook Nerd channel so that you don't miss any of the projects that the design team has created. I will be back again soon with more creative inspiration. Bye, friends.